Hey, it's Mike from Humble Running. I'm on the road. And with good reason too. I've got the Cloudsurfer MAX here. Just released today, just landed on my doorstep today. Now the shoe has MAX in the title, but it's definitely not in the range of some of those super max road trainers that are all the rage recently. 37, 31 millimeter stack, 6 mil drop. That might actually be considered moderate in today's terms for the road. Certainly if you're thinking in terms of the proliferation of super trainers on the market today. Just ran into Elliot from Rickety Ski Reviews just there at that driveway. Caught me mid-sentence talking right into the camera. He's no stranger to that. If you're into skis and you're looking for unbiased, independent ski reviews, similar to what I do here in the running space, check out Rickety Ski Reviews for sure. I did post a couple of quick pictures earlier today on Instagram. First comment I got, something along the lines of other reviewers finding this shoe a bit on the firm side. I certainly don't feel that's the case here. I mean, that's probably one of those things. A lot of those reviewers that do a lot of road shoes, perhaps they may be biased by some of those super trainers, super foam kind of things. I did have a Rebel V4 last year, and that was just, I was kind of shocked having not run in a real super trainer, primarily running on the trails. And I was just kind of like shocked by how soft and how that foam was. So if you're used to running those types of foams and certainly creeping above 40 millimeters at the heel, then yeah, maybe relatively speaking, this could feel firm, but not for me, certainly not. 37, 31 is certainly healthy enough underfoot. Helion super foam here. I don't know exactly what the composition is, but it feels bouncy, definitely feels energetic. There is kind of a bit of sensation of that mechanical cushioning, I would call it. I don't know if that's the right term. You know, you have those cloud pods compressing rather than having, say, a softer foam squishing, if that makes any sense. So if you're not used to running it on shoes, that has, getting wet here, that's good. You saw that temperature there. But it has certainly a different feel than, say, maybe a softer, more airy feeling, squishier foam at a higher volume underfoot. Another factor could be sizing. I've got a US 10 here, half size up from true to size, healthy, at least 3/4 thumbs width in front of the toes. And I'll talk about why that's important in a second. I typically do go a half size up and on shoes. Typically out on the trails, you want to get pretty close to that full thumbs width. And that's really due to foot movement inside of the shoe, especially on descent. You don't want to be bumping up against the front of the toe box. But in this particular road model, typically in road models, you can get away with a little less, maybe 2/3, maybe even a half a thumbs width at times. But in this particular Max model here, it feels like the inflection point where the midsole volume cushion seems to taper off into the front toe sweep and rocker. In my US 10, it seems to be just ahead of the ball of the foot, literally at the base of the toes. And literally that's the point where the rocker seems to kind of roll over and the midsole feels noticeably thinner at the front of the toes, which is typical in a lot of shoes, but the point where that kind of transitions definitely varies from brand to brand, from model to model. I could see if I went true to size here, that would be US 9.5. I would have probably an acceptable half thumbs width up front, maybe even a comfortable half thumbs width. I have some Run Anatomic comfort socks from Sidus here, kind of a cushy toe box Could probably vary. Thinner socks if I went true to size, but the thing then would be that inflection point would be closer to the ball of my foot. And that may be something that makes the shoe, the foam, the cushioning feel a bit thin. And that's certainly the case if you're more of a forefoot striker. I mean, I tend to overly forefoot strike at times. I try to get back and maybe be a little bit more efficient, be more around the midfoot, rear of the ball of the foot. But say you're sized down a little too much in this model and you kind of lean a little bit more towards landing up front, you're just going to hit kind of a thinner section of foam up there, again, where it starts to taper off towards the front of the toe box. So that could be something. I mean, make sure, try on a half size up for sure. Notice not just the sizing, but the cushioning and where it hits you under the ball of the foot. You may find when you do go that half size up, it'll just feel more cushy and more consistent. Your forefoot may be landing in the right spot or a better spot in the midsole. So I am gonna check out a section of dirt here, a little gravelly. Don't wanna go too much up and down. Just raced 100K, and that would be what, 5 days ago now. So I've been keeping it easy, mostly level ground, really trying to just ease my way back. So these showed up, good opportunity to get some flat miles in. I'm at the foothills here where I live. Anytime I step on a trail, I'm gonna start going up. Very hard to find just continuous level trails. And that's a reason for me to work in some road runs. So good timing here on this one. Little road here before jump back on the trail. Saw that controlled dog off leash sign. This is the exact section where I got kind of scratched up, tore up my shorts by a uncontrolled dog on leash. Lunged at me, completely tore up my shorts. So be sure no leash. Gotta control them. No problem on this dirt here. There's no lugs to speak of on this shoe. Definitely a good amount of healthy road outsole patches underneath, but this type of dirt, especially level, not a problem. You could certainly run a road shoe. So let's take a look at this upper here. They got what they call next gen eyelets here, which I guess is this setup here. When you typically have this kind of bar setup, a lot of times you don't have this section in between holding them down in between the individual loops. So a lot of times I find they could kind of get loose or stretch, and you can't really get the same level of, I guess, tightening that you would want to have. It kind of adjusts itself, which at times you don't want. So this is great. These things don't stretch out each individual eyelet as you pull them. They're kind of locked down in between here. So that's kind of a cool setup. How is that different than regular laces? Well, these loops are up here and you don't have the laces pressing under the underside of this upper edge here. So it's just less stuff, less little bumps and ridges pressing against the top of your foot. So you have this lace here, the loop, and then coming over the top, and it's all on top of this smooth flat upper here. So you don't have this spot under here against your foot like you do in a lot of other shoes. So it's very comfortable. You know, I don't know if you have kind of issues with laces maybe in the top of your foot, this can certainly alleviate that. It's really great so far. They have a dual layer Cloud Tech phase system here in the upper, and I assume that's just, you know, you have these two that are a little higher, maybe this one here, instead of having them straight across, you know, in kind of a uniform pattern, you get maybe a little bit different compression, and maybe it does vary. I'm not quite so sure. I haven't tested too many on road shoes. I tested the original Cloudsurfer trail, and I liked that one, but it seemed to be a little bit soft. The way that one compressed and stuff, not this one, the Cloudsurfer Trail 1, I found that was maybe a little bit too much kind of wiggling underfoot for the trails. Maybe they just added this because the stack is higher. I don't know. Again, this is my first run, so I assume that's what they're talking about there. Very cool. Looking at sizing here, US 10, EU 44 for me. My toe is right here. So let's see. I've got about 3/4, probably even a full inside there. And not that you're doing this too much on the road, but if you get down like this and kind of see where your toe is going to be, I'm still not bumping up against the front there. So I think I'm good sizing here. Not that on the road you're going to get this much kind of flex. On trails, yes, and on trails downhill you're certainly moving and bumping there on descents. So I would recommend going up a half size here from true to size. My true to size is typically 9.5. These are 10, and they're just so comfortable. Really wide across here. You can see, so I am a half size up, so get a little bit of extra volume here, but that does not bother me at all. That's not really an issue. I prefer to have this feel comfortable right across the ball of my foot, and it is. So that's great. If you have a narrower foot, then that would be a situation where you'd probably want to go true to size. That would be 9.5 for me. Again, I'm wearing a Sidus sock here. It has a little bit of extra cushioning around the toe area. So if I did have a 9.5, I could probably go with a thinner sock and be fine. But, you know, this is a comfort cruiser shoe, and this feels more comfortable. So I like going up to this size here. I was talking about that inflection point earlier. I thought I'd maybe talk about it. It does have a little bump out seemingly right over here. It doesn't go straight narrowing up front. If you look at there, this is kind of more standard, but it does seem to bump out on the medial side here, and that's right where the ball of my foot is. So I think that shows that I'm at a good size here. This little bump right here is right in line with the ball of my foot, and I think that does stabilize. I mean, a lot of times without that, especially at a higher stack, I would imagine it might feel a little bit narrow and like it's going to collapse inward there. With this little supportive section of midsole there, it does feel very good. But as far as the inflection point, as I'm rolling forward here, I kind of feel it here. So that's the base of my toe. So if this is the ball of my foot, the base of my toes is right up here, and that's when it kind of starts to feel like it's getting into that rocker and thinning out there. So if I had a 9.5, that thinner point would just be a touch further back. And then when I land, at times, it may just be a little thin over there. This is just overall a very nice and comfortable upper and foot shape for long distances. And you know, Max, this is what the shoe is designed for. So they're hitting the mark here, at least so far on my first run. The weight here is 10.9 ounces. That is a little bit on the higher side, but let's take a look at my close-up. Take a closer look at the upper there. They definitely went with more plush, leaning towards the comfort side of things. Certainly with the upper, at least. They definitely could have, you know, if super lightweight was the option, I'm sure, you know, they have their racing shoes and such, so this is not one of them. They could have definitely dialed back in half an ounce, so I don't think that's anything to complain about. This is a Max cushion training shoe. I did check or at least noticed when I stopped my watch back there for that close-up, my average pace was 8:09, so I am cruising at a decent clip here for kind of wanting to just take it easy and feel out a Max cushion shoe. 809 is pretty steady here, so that 10.9 ounces is definitely, it's reasonable. It hits below that kind of magical 11-ounce barrier that does seem to be noticeable, at least for me at my height and weight. Now again, I did get comments from runners that were bigger, asking me to please, 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 this is for trails, talk about rock protection more along the lines of bigger runners. And I'll say the same thing about this, you know, heavier shoes if you're a bigger runner. It's of course less of an issue. You know, I'm a little bit lightweight, so I tend to notice once it creeps up to the 11-ounce range, but this one, not really so. I'm kind of going pretty smooth, pretty nice here. Let's see. Actually, 640 pace right now. I'm on like a maybe 1 or 2% downgrade here. Decline. 640 pace, and I've been talking the whole time, so it's a nice, quick feeling Max shoe. I'll also mention that I did snug down my laces after that quick stop back there. I mean, these shoes are just really straight out of the box, so didn't have it as locked down as I want to, or maybe they just loosened up a little over the course of this first run. But after I kind of dialed them in, really pulled my foot into the middle of the shoe, and I actually feel a little bit more agile, a little bit quicker, certainly on the decline here. This shoe also has me, especially now that I'm running on dirt here, thinking of the Cloud Vista 2. I really didn't get along with that shoe. Had it in a 10. The upper felt too big, and the upper material itself just felt too rigid. They did something funny with the tongue in that model. It was a weird cardboardy thing, which gave me irritation. The upper on this shoe is so much more comfortable, and honestly, now that I snugged down that lacing a bit, I think this would be a better trail shoe than the Cloud Vista 2. Even though that one has, I think it has some very minor lugs, but for what I'm on here, and you could judge based on your own type of light trails, I would definitely run in this shoe over the Cloud Vista 2 on light trails or paths. That's just my take on that comparison right here. Speaking of comps, in this shipment, I also received the Cloudsurfer 2 road shoe again. I had them on side by side at home. That one definitely felt closer to the ground, definitely more agile. I don't think it felt as supportive. Like, this one seems to have more kind of lateral side to side stability than that one. Now, just based on standing them, it's quite a bit lighter for sure. I mean, this one, obviously, relative to that shoe, feels like it has just like a layer of extra cushioning beyond what you get in that one. So that's another one I'll be running and testing soon, very shortly. And this will probably be a great road A/B test. Maybe a first road A/B test run for the channel. Cloudsurfer 2 versus Cloudsurfer MAX. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments. Closing this run out on the road here. A little minor road hill here, then back down on the other side. Should be no problem. Kind of feel how it goes uphill and downhill though. All right, I'm almost home. Gonna have to run through these sprinklers here. Need it. Here we go. Ooh. Oh yeah. Oh. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Summer road running right here. So let me know what you think of this. First impressions on the road run here. Again, I got the Cloudsurfer 2 ready to test, and likely an A/B. If you want to see it, let me know down in the comments. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, all that good stuff. See you out on the trails or maybe the road sometimes. Just jogging it out here on the way back home. I did want to mention 99 degrees, full sun, late afternoon. I do love the all white shoe. They sent me the Cloudultra 3 trail shoe in all black. So I think I might have to save that for night running or something, at least for a little while until it cools off here.